A 37-year-old woman was fatally shot by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE officer in Minneapolis on Wednesday, sparking protests, political outrage, and sharply conflicting accounts from federal, state, and city officials. The Department of Homeland Security said the shooting occurred during a federal immigration enforcement operation when officers were confronted by protesters. A DHS spokesperson claimed that one of the violent rioters weaponized her vehicle and attempted to run over law enforcement officers. An ICE agent then fired defensive shots, the department said, describing the incident as an act of self-defense. The woman was later identified as Renee Good, a U.S. citizen. Minneapolis police said she was shot in the head and died after being transported to the hospital. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said officers responded to a call involving the use of deadly force and found the woman inside a vehicle blocking Portland Avenue. According to O'Hara, a federal agent approached the vehicle on foot, after which the woman attempted to drive away. At least 2 shots were fired before the vehicle crashed into a parked car. O'Hara stressed that the woman was not the target of any immigration enforcement action and appeared to be alone in the vehicle. The FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension have taken over the investigation to determine whether any laws were violated. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey strongly disputed the federal government's account, saying he had personally reviewed video footage of the incident. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, Frey said during an emotional news conference. He accused federal authorities of attempting to spin this as self-defense and used an expletive to demand ICE agents leave the city. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos in our streets, he said, adding that the federal presence was only making a difficult situation more problematic. Dozens of protesters gathered at the scene, where yellow crime scene tape cordoned off a snow-covered residential street lined with homes. Videos posted on social media show a maroon SUV surrounded by law enforcement vehicles before gunshots are heard, and the vehicle crashes into a white car parked along the roadside. People recording the incident can be heard screaming and accusing agents of murder. BBC Verify confirmed multiple videos showing the shooting from different vantage points, with the confrontation unfolding in less than 10 seconds. Mayor Frey urged residents to protest peacefully, referencing the city's history following the 2020 killing of George Floyd. "Our city has been through a lot," he said. "If you are angry, I get it. I am too. But do not give them what they want." Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called the incident totally predictable and totally avoidable, blaming what he described as a dangerous and sensationalized federal deployment. He said there had been no coordination with state or local authorities and warned against escalation. "We're not living in a normal world," Walz said, adding that officials appeared to have reached conclusions before the investigation was complete. He urged Minnesotans to exercise their right to protest peacefully and warned against federal attempts to provoke unrest. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the ICE officer, saying agents had been conducting an enforcement action when their vehicles became stuck in the snow and were attacked. "The officer defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him," Noem said, characterizing the woman's alleged actions as domestic terrorism. She confirmed that more than 2,000 additional federal agents had recently been deployed to the Minneapolis area. President Donald Trump also weighed in, saying he had watched footage of the shooting and described it as horrible to watch. He accused the woman of violently resisting officers and blamed what he called radical left hostility toward law enforcement. Democratic lawmakers sharply criticized the federal response. Senator Tina Smith called on ICE to leave the state for everyone's safety, while Representative Jamie Raskin demanded that Secretary Noem testify before Congress. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison described the ICE deployment as reckless and a factor in the fatal shooting, pledging to pursue accountability if laws were broken. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who represents Minneapolis, said the woman killed was acting as a legal observer of ICE activities and accused federal agents of terrorizing our communities. The shooting comes amid heightened immigration enforcement in Minneapolis, part of a broader national crackdown by the Trump administration. The city has become a focal point of immigration tensions in recent months, particularly involving its large Somali American community, which Trump has repeatedly criticized. With protests continuing and investigations underway, The fatal shooting is expected to further inflame divisions over immigration enforcement, federal authority, and public safety, in a city still deeply marked by past confrontations between law enforcement and the community.